Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friends in Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with my two co-hosts, Noontime with Sky and Tiff P today. And Sky, welcome back. We're happy to have you back. You were in Baltimore last show and at the NA convention and
Ocean City, Maryland.
Ocean City, Maryland. That's it. Yeah, Baltimore, Ocean City, and I think you were wearing the same shirt one night over there. Recovery is my jam. There you go.
And we talked about it on last week's show.
We did. We started off last week's show. So we want to welcome everybody over on Facebook Live. But it's a new thing that we're doing, a new toy that we got. That I got anyways, that's pissing everybody off on the show, but I'm having fun with it. It's okay. It's my show. Welcome to the Jersey Ed show, guys. Thank God we're talking about the 4-step today. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank Genesis House for their ongoing support of this podcast. And of course, guys, without them, we'd be nothing today, of course. Well, we'd be something, but we'd have to ask for donations.
Without them, I wouldn't have a job. So
yes, amen, sister.
Where I get to do what I love.
That's right. This week's show, guys, 4-step, getting personal. Comment below. Email us at help@friendsandrecoverypodcast. Facebook Live, give us some of your 4-step maybe resentments or concerns or questions we can answer. And today we will be using stay tuned for some amazing recovery first. And today we're going to be using literature. Tiff is going to be using a life recovery workbook, 12-step guide to the big book, and her personal journal. Whoa. Wow. Stay tuned. I think that's going to be a whole other show on that one. But anyways, Sky is our NA girl or NA person. Can we say girl or person, Sky?
Girl, she, her.
Girl, she, her. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They, them,
put your pronouns after your names on the show, guys. Let's see. Sky is going to be using the NA. What did I write down here? Oh, how and why, and the NA workbook. Is that it?
Yes.
Sky. Okay.
Yes.
And then I'm going to be using the daily reflections. There's a good daily reflection today about the 4-step. My personal 4-step list. No, I'm not going to let you see it, but I'm going to read a couple of things off of it if need be. And life recovery workbook. That's a great workbook. So sober shout outs, ladies. What do you got for sober shout outs today?
Bambi had 90 days.
Yay, Bambi.
Yep. We got both of our Tylers, P and K. They got a year this month.
All right.
I think Arlene having 27 years is something to mention again.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's awesome. And then Carla with 2 years, John with 3.
Yes.
Nice.
And Tristan with 6. And
Tristan with 6.
And Donna C with 9
Yay.
days.
All right.
Honesty with what? 90 days?
Yep.
Nice. Love it. Love.
What do you
love
have, Tip? Do you have any sober shout outs?
No shout outs this week.
Wow.
Yeah, no sober shout outs this week. I have lots of shout outs, but I'll keep them to myself.
Do you want to shout at somebody? Like the kids?
No, I stopped doing that after my first time. I became perfect. All of my character defects and personal flaws went away.
It's perfection, not progress in this room, guys.
Yeah. The exact opposite.
Just hate to tell you that.
Oh, shit.
Anyways, okay, so no, I got a couple shout outs. So today, guys, as you see, I'm smoking a cigar. And when I say guys, I mean everybody. That's just the Jersey endearment way of saying people. Okay, that's it. That's what I say.
It's different from when you say the fellas, right?
Yeah.
That's
the guys.
men. Yeah. All right.
Guys. Hey, guys. You're like, hey, guys. Hey,
well,
guys.
now that we have that cleared up.
All right. So we can go on with the show now? Okay.
Yes, we can go on with the show.
Good. I do want to give a shout out to Jay at Cigar Town. That's where I'm at today. I'm smoking a cigar over in Hindern, Virginia. I made a pit stop here during my day and I ended up, I ended up making my second stop here. So if you look a couple shows back, Jay let me use the back room. I'm in like this dark back room with seedy curtain. No, I'm kidding. It's beautiful back here. So that wasn't a good shout out for you, Jay, but any publicity is good publicity, right? There you go. He said, absolutely. So, and one quick other shout out, guys, Felicia, from our meetings. She hosted her first Friends in Recovery meeting Thursday, guys. So let's give her a shout out. I didn't get on it, but Thursday, Felicia hosted her first meeting and she's going to go on. So she's Thursday at noontime Eastern. You guys want to check it out.
Talk about a person who hits their 90 days and says, yes, I'm ready for service. That's a commitment. I love it.
Yes. I know. I'm so proud of her.
She went to hit the ground running. So, but Tiff, do you want to talk about those meetings and some other stuff?
Okay, I can do that.
You do that.
Well, don't forget, we do have our Friends in Recovery community, which hosts twice daily meetings on Zoom. So 2 meetings a day. And you can find all of those listed on our website, which is the genesishouse.net under connections. But most importantly, friendsinrecoverycommunity.org or aa-intergroup.org. You can find the 7 p.m. meetings. Noon meetings are on their way soon on the AA Intergroup website. But also don't forget to look for us on social media. Obviously, we have our Facebook groups, Instagram, Telegram, Snapchat, and coming soon, TikTok. So at random, I'm going to take some sort of video this week. And I should have did it in the beginning when we were talking about everybody complaining.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be on TikTok. So look for Friends in Recovery community on any of those things. And don't forget, we have our adventure planning. So we do adventures as well. And like, subscribe, share, give us a 5-star review. We need all those things to keep helping people as best we can. So like and subscribe and comment.
Absolutely. One other thing I want to talk about before the end of the show, which we usually do, I want to talk about Sober Pod, just get it over and done with because they always mention us on the shows. And Skylar, if you listen to like last week or the week before show, Carl did a solo show, and I think he doesn't even realize that Tiff and I are on this show at all. So Carl's the host. He did solo. Did you hear that? Like it was quick and it was a quick show and that was it. It was like, yeah, Skylar's great over at Friends in Recovery. I'm like, what? I'm like, what about us? She's the voice of Friends in Recovery.
We got nothing. Nothing.
No. You and you know what it is? You and I.
I've put on a wig. I have wore my hair short. I've changed the color of my hair, and I still don't get a mention from that disease called sober pot.
That's right. Exactly. Well, you know what it is, Tim? if I figured out you and I blab so much that when Skylar comes on, she just hits with the points. Like, here it is. If you don't like it,
I steal both your ideas and make my own real quick.
Exactly. Exactly.
I had no idea. You would have
sneaky.
I would have had nothing to say.
You're
right,
sneaky, Sky. I didn't think of that. I'm going to be quiet now.
Welcome to the Noontime with Sky show. Here's your host, Skylar. Oh, all right. Sorry. Anyways, so it's that time of the show, guys, where we're going to ask our question of the week. And the question of the week is just picked randomly. We want to get to know each other. We want to get to know you guys too. So comment below or send us some email at help@Friends in Recovery Podcast and answer our question of the week. And you guys on Facebook Live, please share your answers with us today on the question of the week, and we will be sure to read it out. And the question of the week is, what snack can you just not get enough of? What snack can you just not get enough of? I thought this is pretty cool because we all like our snacks. And being in recovery, we all have our vices, right? We threw away all of our other vices, the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll, the drinking. And we just got to pick up something harmless, like a snack. Hundreds of them, probably, some of us. But
I remember in the beginning in early recovery when you were just like candy, or I would pick something and I would just obsess about it. That one thing, one single thing. I would be like,
exactly.
I couldn't get enough of black licorice until Di one day told me that I was going to die of a heart attack.
She did. Yes, I remember that. I remember that on a meeting. You were told on a meeting.
And she was obsessing about the same licorice with that darn black licorice that those Aussies make or whatever it is.
So is that your snack you can't just get enough of? Okay. No. So then you go. While you're going, we'll let Skylar
listen to our answers and make a better one.
Yeah. She's going to come up with like a black licorice Frito Dorito.
Yeah, right. My snack, I'm like a 3-year-old.
So I am not really a snack person, except I have one vice, which is really bad right now at this time of year, and it's Peeps. Peeps are my jam. As soon as I have one, those soft and squishy and like light little pretty crispy.
I get an nail mail to you.
I just like, I can't get enough.
Me too.
I can't get enough. And I also like, but normally though, like if I were to pick a snack, like at a gas station or something, veggie straws. I can't get enough of veggie straws. I love veggie straws.
Right. So maybe you're a salty.
I'm definitely salty.
Person. Yes, we know that.
AKA a bitch.
Resident bitch, Tiff. Okay, so what is it? It's Peeps. We're only gonna go one today. You gotta pick one. Peeps. Okay.
Peeps is where I can't control myself. I just want to keep going.
Peeps. Yeah.
When I buy them in the store, I will just like, I don't buy one box of Peeps. I buy like 15. And they used to be like 99 cents. Now they're $2.19.
Yeah, right.
Hey, there's a Peep store in Baltimore, right outside of Baltimore, like a whole Peep store. If Stacy's on here, I think and I went to it.
There's a Peep store in the Mall of America also.
Is there? Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anyways, Tiff is Peeps. And let's see, Sky, what do you got for us? What is the snack you just can't get enough of?
So if you ask my son or Charles, they'll tell you Cinnamon Toast Crunch with milk, without any time of day. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm like addicted to Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I don't know. That's why I said I'm going to sound like a 3-year-old, but I like dry cereal as a snack. Like that sounds like a fucking child.
I remember with the kids, I put the Cheerios in a little bag and give it to them. That's what Charles does. He gives you out of the little baggie.
Ziploc bags up with Cinnamon Toast Crunch when we go on road trips. He does.
My gosh. Charles is the snack mom in your house?
Well, yes, he helps.
He ziplocs all the snacks for the road trips.
He doesn't want to hear my mouth. He's like, let me just
crunch away, bitch, crunch away.
Oh my gosh.
That is good. Well, it's actually not a bad snack. It's bad, but it's not a bad snack. So, And so Cinnamon Toast Crunch for you, Peeps for you, Tiff, and mine is hands down. I'm only going to say the one word, what it is, and then we're going to continue the show because I will have to go out searching for them because I'm addicted to these things. So they are Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
End
gosh.
the story. End the story. That's it. I just can't go on about it anymore. But I will tell you this: the person's house that I'm staying at for this week, they have a huge container of them on the counter, and I had to go to sleep early last night because that container was talking to me. Eat
All
me,
night
eat
long.
me. Oh my God. I went right to sleep. I'm like, I can't. I just can't do it. I'll eat 1,000 of them. Then I'll have to buy some in the morning and then just go fill back up for them. So they wouldn't need it. So they know I wouldn't need it. So,
but
anyways,
this is a good conversation about our addictive behavior.
Oh yeah.
Because I definitely am addicted to food.
Can't just have one.
That was my addiction before drugs,
one.
Really, that and fantasy. I've heard people say that, and I could really relate to that.
Yes,
escaping and food.
And, there's certain things like I know if we had it in the house, I will eat it. I will eat it. I will go for it. I know control, and my mind will obsess about it, like you just talked about, Ed, the same way it did for drugs or alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
so, it's crazy.
Absolutely. So, but at least it's not as bad. But anyways. So, guys, on with the show. Step 4, we're getting personal today. I don't know what that means. I thought it was cool because we get personal the third week of the show anyway. So I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how long it's going to go. But step 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So I'm going to tell you what that means to me personally, and then maybe we should go around the room and just go off of that. So we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So for me, I got to go back to step 3, right? I got to go back to step 3 and really understand that I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to God. Whatever comes up, I have to be in the understanding that God is going to be my man. He's going to be there for me no matter what. And I want to, and when we're ready for that, that's when I'm looking for my phone here. Oh, here it is. Okay. When we're ready for that, that's why I was a little thrown off, kind of talking a little bit. And when we're ready for step 3, that's when step 4 comes in, because it says the search and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And my sponsor always tells me, Eddie, not a fearful search, a fearless search. And let me tell you, my 4th step is about, I don't know, I must have 40 or 50 people, places, and things on them. And I went through that list fearlessly. And so that's what that means to me. Tiff or Sky, what do you guys have? Personal stuff, what it means to you. And comment in the chat. I just think of
inventory as business. I think of stock, what I have in stock, what's serving me, what's not. You know what I mean? What's in the shelf that's old that probably needs to get tossed out? It's literally when they say cleaning house, I'm a visual learner. So I literally think of, and then also I have to look up words. So the dictionary, a complete list of items such as property, goods in stock, or the contents of a building. That's one of the definitions, but the concept of a list of what we have, you know what I mean? And honestly, my sponsor had me start with the assets. Write down all the good thing about you first. So that way you start getting lost in this spiral over here, right? In this inventory, you can go back over here and remind yourself of all the good stuff you do have,
Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. That's exactly what an inventory is. That's what it is. You build a business, you got to make sure what your inventory is. And if you don't watch what your inventory is, you're going to probably go out of business. Same thing with us. You're probably going to relapse, it's you gotta just take care of yourself. You got to make sure that you're on track and doing what we're supposed to be doing. Right. We're supposed to be, way the program, sorry, the headphones are really throwing me off today, guys. Anyways, but Tiff, go ahead. You go, and I'll adjust my headphones so I can not hear myself talk as much. Or maybe I should stop fucking talking.
The 4th step, what it means personally to me is what you're asking, right?
Yes, personally. Okay, well, getting personal today.
We're getting personal, right? So I love what Sky said, because that's the first thing I think of is cleaning house. That's the first thing I think of, and inventory in that business sense. But what it really means to me personally is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It really, and I really like that word, freedom. And that came from this step where I was able to just the ability to forgive myself, that forgiveness piece, and get rid of that guilt and shame that I was carrying, that weight on my shoulders. Just having that all those resentments I had towards myself were holding me back so much. And I just felt so much freedom afterwards. I just felt free, just lifted after my 4-step. That's why I'm so passionate about the 4-step. And I don't want people to be afraid of it. So freedom is really, if I were to give you a 1-word answer, it would be freedom.
And you know what? I was on a meeting and my sponsor was at a meeting, right? And him and I, as you guys know in this room, that him and I are very similar. He might be a notch above me as far as craziness goes, but we're definitely in that same realm. So I said that too in a meeting, and he kind of said, no, he goes, I was scared shitless after my 4th step. It scared the shit out of me. But to me, I feel freedom from it too. 100, right in that list, it was freedom. It was done and over with. Like when you clean the house, you open all the windows, everything's nice and neat and clean and smells fresh, right? The beds are just made and all that stuff. That's what it seems like to me. But I guess it's a little bit different for everybody. Comment below, guys, what how you felt after your 4th step. 1 word, whatever. Comment in the live chat over on Facebook. We'll read some out too. We won't say your name, but anyways,
let me just read this quote real quick. So I had the speaker on the other night on the alumni, just so you can go to drink of water. But I had the speaker on the alumni meeting the other night named BK, and he said something when I heard him speak the first time, and he said, freedom is giving up. I literally wrote it down. Freedom is giving up on hope on a better past. You know what I mean? Like the hope of the past.
Say it again.
Freedom is giving up hope on a better past.
Giving up hope on a better past.
Like it's going to change. Like you're going to make it better. Like it's going to.
Like, you're turning your past, into successes.
Not freedom if you're constantly looking, to
change.
And
you're taking those past behaviors and turning them into your successes or assets today.
Yeah.
For your future.
Yeah.
There was so much learning, so much growth during this, so much understanding. I don't have enough words to talk about.
That's what I was going to say. Is like
even all these years later, doing it again.
Yeah. Well, and we think about what an inventory is, but like, all right, we have this business. Who makes the inventory list? Who's going to like oversee my inventory? We need to like think about these things in recovery related. Right. Sponsor, can't spot self-deception. You know what I mean? Like, these are the things like, because we can't just read what an inventory means and relate that to recovery is like what it is. Because we have to have all this information to sponsor and take it through us. And the things like, because I almost look at it as compartmentalizing in a way too, because it's like cleaning, organizing, keep it like putting it all together where it's supposed to go. The fishing gear goes to the sporting goods. You know what I mean? It's not up in the bathroom. Like things are getting organized.
Yeah. You hit something on the head are very on point. I don't know. I always screw up those fucking little like sayings. I'm always fucking screw them up because I don't understand them. But anyway.
Always be the person you see on the floor. No, that's not always be. Is that what you're talking about?
No, when people say those phrases like hit the nail on the head, like I would say like hit the head on the nail or something stupid like that. But anyway, I combine 2 of them together that I think are good. But so what you were on point on something though, Sky, when you said you have somebody who does oversight of your inventory if you were to own a business, right?
It's messy in there quick if I don't.
It's messy. I really have found doing lots of 5th steps with people and not my personal, inventory. There's a lot of self-deception if I don't do this with someone else. If I don't get advice to really show me my patterns, help me identify my behavior and how I could look at it differently. I needed help with that.
If I could see it, I would have been better by now.
Well, that's where the fearlessness comes from. Whatever it takes to be fearless, right? So I want to read something in the Life Recovery Workbook. It says, it's a quick little sentence or two. If fear is a huge pattern for us, we must turn this over to God. If resentment is our reaction to being hurt or snubbed, we must learn to pray for the person that hurts us. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Whatever it takes to feel better, whatever it takes to clean our house. Like if you need to use a bottle of bleach to clean your house, or if you need to use the pledge or whatever it is, it's whatever it takes to
But your sponsor tells you which one to use. Like
exactly.
Right? Like your sponsor's kind of giving you what's normal, what's not. Maybe I hate saying the word normal, but maybe what's more healthier.
Yeah,
they will say. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And the other piece of this is in the Daily Reflections. It's April 14th. As I look at myself participating with practicing the 4-step, it is easy to gloss over the wrong that I have done, because I can easily see the question of getting even or a wrong done to me, right? And again, fearless. When you talk to your sponsor, when I talk to my sponsor, I always have an excuse for something, right? Well, how come you didn't do this? Well, because it is, or because it, no. Fearless. And are you willing to go to any lengths, right? Are you willing to go to any lengths and put that resentment away? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But that's why the 4th step doesn't happen like in one day, and might have to get back to things. Am I willing to let that resentment go? And it says, if I hold on to a resentment, I will keep hurting and hating myself. What the fuck? Really? Why would we even hold on to a resentment, right? If we were going to hurt ourselves. So
I guess
seriously,
when you put it that way.
Yeah. Why would I?
For a long time, that was my identity. I used my mom as an excuse for everything. Everything. She was the reason that I failed at everything. She was the reason I was an alcoholic, a drug addict. She was the reason I wasn't going to be an alcoholic or a drug addict. She was it didn't matter if it was an oxymoron with what I was saying. She was my excuse. That was literally my identity. Yeah. And I lived and breathed that world. And I am a positive, self-aware, forward thinker, but that was my identity. And I had to learn how to let that go.
Identity. That's so true. Lies were my identity. Cheating, stealing, identity. I couldn't, Jeff Zazelle, a couple shows back, he said, every time you tell a lie, you have to tell 10 more lies. So how do you stop that, right? Especially in our alcoholic minds, especially using, like I had to lie about when I was going to the store, I had to lie about how many beers I had. I had to lie about, I don't do cocaine anymore, as I'm walking to the bathroom with an 8-ball in my fucking pocket and going snorting off the back of the toilet, right? I mean, I had to lie about everything. And then what's that white stuff on your tongue? Oh, no, nothing. No, what, you smell like alcohol. No, I just had a drink of iced tea. Well, fucking iced tea doesn't smell like that.
Must be some medication I'm on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because I was taking 12 of those illegally too.
Exactly. So that just keeps going on and on and on and on. And again, that's where we have to stop it. Like, where do we stop the lies? Where do we stop the cheating and stealing, right? And then that's where the pivot comes, because all the crap in our past, everything that we wrote down, all the resentments we have, doesn't make who we are today, right? We're not that person today. We're trying to get rid of that past. We're trying to get rid of those resentments. We're trying to get rid of all those feelings, because what if it comes up again? What if I have somebody on my resentment list and I haven't seen in years? And when I see them or I think of them, what do I do? Do I say, okay, pray for them? No, I'm going to fucking piss on them, right? That's half of these people on my list, and half of these things on my list, I want to piss on, right? But that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to get freedom. That, like we were talking earlier, that is not the way. The way is the way when we write our resentment list and we write down the things that the cause of it, and then we write down what our part was in it too. So
there's I learned a lot with that list about who the real me is. Because and I'm not talking about the lying, cheating, stealing. That was the addict self.
That's the past self. Yeah.
Those were symptoms of my illness. But I learned that a lot of the resentments listed on my page were, I hold resentments towards the weirdest things. Like I can forgive and forget and move on. I'm that person. I can just forgive, forget, move on and give people chances. I can see opposing point of views. Those are my strengths. But people who hurt other people or treat people poorly, those were a lot of, I take that on personally as an empath. Like when I see somebody treating somebody bad, or when I see people, just anything being disrespectful to other people, I have a heightened sense of awareness, a keen sense of awareness about those things. And I don't like it. I was resentful for someone from like 50 years ago, or not 50, 25 years ago.
You look good for 75.
Right? I just told Ed this too. I said, when we were talking about our resentment lists, I was hanging onto a resentment about a person I don't even know. I don't even know who did it, but I overheard them or witnessed them treating a Dairy Queen person behind the counter, taking their order poorly, disrespectfully, rude, shit shaming. Just, I carried that resentment till recently. I didn't even remember that. That was when we were originally talking about the timeline. It was just, I had weirdest things on my list, but that touched my soul. It obviously made a spot in my brain and I needed to work through it. And I don't want to think about that dude anymore. He's not thinking about me. I'll tell you that. So why am I carrying this shit? No way.
Funny you say that. This morning, I was on the phone with my sponsor. I was running, and I was running on a golf course because it's easier on the knees and it's nice and quiet and thing in the morning. And I'm running back, and there's like 3 guys standing on the tee box, and one guy has his hands on his hips, looking at me like, I'm like, what's going on? The guy goes, really? You're running on the golf course? I'm like, yeah, look how beautiful it is. It's God's country. It's amazing. The morning dew. You guys being an asshole, right? He's being an asshole to me. Like, don't stand there with your hips on your fucking hands on your hips. I'm a runner. I deserve, So anyways, I'm on the phone with my sponsor. I clicked it off. I'm like, he does not need to hear what's going to happen next. Right. So I'm just kidding. But anyways, I'm running by him. I'm like, that's a hell of a resentment to have, me running through your golf course, and you're only on hole 2, dude. You better get rid of that resentment real quick. And I went running by. I'm like, I wonder was I being an asshole, or was I just living my life? I was a little bit of each. I was being an asshole, but I learned something from that. Run on a golf course a little bit early, so you don't get the assholes to tell you to stay off the golf course. That's number 1. Number 2, but think about it. That would be me.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it is kind of
mercy for me and justice for everyone else.
Exactly.
My rights come in.
Yes, exactly. No, but really think about it. If that guy was on the first or the second hole, it was the second hole I ran through, and then I got off the course. But that would be me on the whole time. Would you believe that guy ran on a golf course? I paid big money for this, and I would talk about fucking 18 holes, and then we'd probably play another round, another 36 holes talking about the asshole. And it ruined my day, it ruined my day.
Replay conversations in my head, how I would have handled that differently if I would have really thought about it. How I would have, next time it happens, this is what I'm going to do. If I ever see that guy again, I mean, just nonstop. That was my life. Other than managing my addiction, that was my life. And I don't want to be, I told you today, Ed, that when I got in the car or whatever, or got on the phone with you while I was in the car, someone honked at me, Sky. And I was like, oh, the old me, I would have jumped out and started bitching at that person and pistol whipped him in the head. And I was like, but the new me just pulls away. Like, oh, sorry about that. Made a mistake. Sorry, I didn't step on the gas. Bye. Bye. I'll pray for you.
Yeah, you just got to let that shit go. And you know what?
Who cares?
By the time I got to the second hole, the first hole, and running up the hill to get off the golf course, I called my sponsor back, told him what happens, and I completely forgot about it until you brought this up. And that's what a program does. That's what working an active program does. It lets us get out of our heads. We don't have to take it to the 18th hole, the 9th hole. We don't have to take it that far. Does it hurt a little bit when it happens? Yeah, of course it stings. And we're human beings. We want to tell them to go fuck off. But the first thought we can't control. The thoughts afterwards. And my sponsor also said, Eddie, you can't even control the first emotion that comes into your thinking. The emotions afterwards. Do you want to let it go? Do you want to just move on and have a great day? Or do you want to feel all crazy about this guy, you know? And I'm only bringing it up because we're talking about it on the show. That's the only reason why. Otherwise, I can really give a fuck about the guy in the golf course today. Seriously, you know?
I will say with this step, you said something. You said we can't control our first thought or emotion. There is science behind the more we work on it, the more we work on implementing tools, behavioral tools or healthy tools in our life, like whatever, praying or whatever, you know, whatever it may be, the receptors and the muscles in our brain rebuild themselves, and we can control some of those first thoughts or emotions like anxiety or worry or things like that we could or fear that used to just take over our whole self. But the more we practice something, the better we get at it, and the easier and more natural it becomes.
Yes.
So it will be a natural instinct at some point. It's just, again, we say this over and over, and you especially, Ed, this is progress. As long as we're making progress and working on those things, then there's hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other thing too, guys, I always say this too, how long do you stay in it, right? Do you stay in it this long or this long, right? You stay in it. We're human beings. We're going to stay in it, right? I don't need to stay in it for a day. I don't need to be upset with my wife for the whole day. Maybe she said something that was upsetting me in the morning. I can be over it by noontime. I can be over by 10 o'clock in the morning. I can be over it within an hour, whatever it is, you know, but do I choose to stay in that resentment? And I can hold that resentment for a week, 2 weeks, a year, 10 years. You know what I mean? And that's why we got to get this list down and put these people on the list. Anybody, whatever it is, you know, I have one on my list, a judge back years and years ago. I didn't even think about this until Tiffany, you gave me that timeline. Look at that timeline. Think of here, think of this. And I remembered in my, when I first started driving, he gave me a ticket for trespassing, and I was pissed off at him. Well, he enforced the ticket for the trespassing, right? What the fuck, really? Right. The judge didn't do the trespassing. I did. I was clearly not on a piece of property I should have been on, drinking and doing probably all of the legal shit that they never caught us with. But I got the ticket, and I'm blaming the judge. I mean, really? Come on.
Skinny girls were on mine, and skinny girls never even did nothing to me except be skinnier than me.
Right. Yes. But like you can have, that is true.
It's like a lack of reality. Like,
yes.
And then like you were talking about like the story, and it's like your sponsor helps because it's like, he's like the help when you're the lack of objectivity to the situation, because we get so stuck in our emotion of it. Right. And it's like that. So you're right. That's so true. Like, thank God for sponsors, because they help us with that.
Yeah,
like
there's a lot. I was working with a sponsee a couple of weeks ago, and she could not get over, or actually it was like one of the biggest things that she talked about during her 5th step, right? But we moved back to her 4th step with this one. She could not get over the fact of how she was treated when she was thrown in jail. And she was like, I was treated like a caged animal and like all this stuff. And you know, do they really have to put the cuffs on like that, the way that they do and push me around? And I'm like, wait a minute, let's look at this for a second. Let's just stop. We need to be really careful when our so-called self-righteousness comes in, where you're the one who did the drinking and driving. You're the one who broke the law. You're the one who is endangering other people. And you're the one. So, and who knows? And aside from that, if you were truly, truly mistreated, you don't know what happened to that cop that day, what kind of day he was having, what his boss was saying to me. Maybe he got shit canned and beat up or whatever for the last person that he arrested. And And then I mean, even down to how she was being treated while she was in jail. And all I did was ask for some phone call, and I asked super nicely, and like, wait a minute, you're in jail with criminals because you are a criminal.
In jail with conditions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Conditions too.
Yes.
Yeah. Jail is not freedom.
Exactly.
Jail
with
is
conditions.
not. Yeah.
But she went on and on.
I'll go to treatment if I have my computer, my
Yes.
canvases, like, you know, and it's like conditions.
My
but like,
drugs, my alcohol.
give me some
Yeah.
puddle water and I'll shoot up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of conditions were they?
They were good. There's,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, right? Come on. Guys, I want to
Yes.
not shift gears here, but I want to do a little searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves on the 7 deadliest sins. Okay. The 7 deadly sins are fear, pride, envy, dishonesty, greed, and moral or sexual misconduct, lust. So I'd like to go, if you ladies don't mind, if you guys don't mind, let's go over each. It is on page 32 of the Life Recovery Workbook. And I believe it's in the 12 and 12. I didn't bring it with me
It is
today.
in the 12 and 12.
Yeah,
and it's also
the 7 deadliest sins. So fear is my deadliest sin. Excuse me. When I was running this morning, I'm running through the golf course, and I'm like, once I started like kind of mouthing off to these guys, or just giving them my spiritual business, I guess I could say, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, what are you doing, Ed? 3 guys with a bunch of golf clubs and a cart. I'm really going to mouth off to these guys. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Right. But then I just said, keep your mouth shut and keep running. And, a little prayer to God and call my sponsor back. And I was out of the fear. But fear is my biggest deadly sin. I live on fear. I run on fear. I do everything on fear, and it's crazy, but fear is my biggest. How about you guys on fear? Getting personal, guys. Getting personal here.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that one.
No dead air.
I wrote down greed and lust, but I don't know like greed, because like as a kid I struggled with that, and lust, like being obsessed with like something, but I don't know which one I fear. I mean, I don't know. I gotta think about that, because I think it's hard.
Well, you might not have it. You don't have to have every one of these.
Oh.
I'm a big guy that runs on fear. I really am. So you guys might not be. There's some people out there. If you're in the chat room, let us know.
What does that mean, run on fear? Like, you're not really afraid of running.
No, running on fear. Fear motivates me.
Oh, yeah. It motivates you. Okay.
It motivates me. And that's not good.
I thought you meant run, like when you run in the morning.
No,
you picture someone chasing you.
Oh my God. The cops. No. Running, I got down.
So you're motivated by fear of losing your job?
Everything.
You run on fear. You operate because you don't.
I operate on. I know. There's a question here, and this is and this is why I brought this up. It says, when and what ways have I led a double life, looking good on the outside, while full of shame about my addiction on the inside, or fill in the blank addiction on the inside? Page 33 of the Life Recovery Workbook. So that is like, I can hold it all together and be like, okay about everything, but you know what I mean? But inside it's killing me. Like, oh my God, did I do this podcast right? Do the girls, are they pissed off? Are you going to come on next week? Seriously, I get off the show again. I'm like,
yeah, you're afraid that I get what you mean now with the fear and how it affects your self-esteem. It's maybe driven by your self-esteem or confidence level.
Or lack of self-esteem sometimes.
Yes.
So that's me on fear. What about pride?
I get that.
Go ahead.
I can relate to you in that sense, because I am my own worst critic. I criticize everything I do all day long from it doesn't matter if it's the way I've dressed, what I've picked. Did I do the right thing? I need lots of reassurance from people. Not from people, like from Chris.
Yeah.
But I will constantly replay things in my head like you do.
Yeah. So that's fear. That's fear. We all have a little bit of that. It's good to have some healthy fear, but when you constantly think about it, like even, and even on my runs, guys, I do a long run on Sunday, it could be anywhere between 10 to 15 miles, right? And as I'm getting ready, and I've done this for years, I've done this for over 28 years I've been running, right? And I put my hydration vest on, I'm feeling everything. I'm like, oh my God, what if I can't make 15 miles? What if I run out of water? What if I this? What if I that? You know, and it's not just a healthy fear. It just goes into then I have to say, stop. You don't have to live in it. And I get at it. When I get on the road, start running, I'm fine. And then the run's over. I'm like, see, nothing happened. Really nothing happened. And our fears, 98% of them never come true, guys. 98%.
Oh, yes. I agree with that.
Never
too.
come true.
You know, when you say this about the fear, I am always so shocked when people say to me or something like, you were so intimidating. You always intimidate me or whatever. You're very intimidating. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, in my mind, I'm like,
yes,
not like that at all. She's there like, you always seem so confident. Not at all.
Yeah, people say it to me all the time too. And I'm like, yeah, right.
And I've had to fake it till I make it, right?
To yes.
Be successful. But that's a very good question.
Yeah.
And how
it is a great
what
question.
that really means.
How you feel, you look on the outside, but feel on the inside, right?
It's not match the inside.
Yeah, it does not match the inside. And I'm going to we'll go on to the next is pride. But the one other thing, and Carl, our producer on the show, he's like, when we decided to do what we do, and I brought Tiff on, and Sky, you and I changed the whole format around from, as you guys notice, there's no more speakers on this. It's just us talking raw about ourselves. Carl said, Ed, you are the leader of the show. And Tiff, you tell me this too. You're the leader of the show. You started this. Carl said, you have to take control of that show. I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to do this with these two women on here? They know so much more than me about recovery. They got all this shit done. I'm going to talk about the steps. And then we come on here and you guys are like, you know more about the steps than you think you do. And I'm like, no, it's bullshit, you know, and that is how I run on fear. But you know what? Because of the support that I got from you guys and because of the support I have from Carl and rewatching these shows, I do. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but I do a pretty good job. I really do. You know, I may not be a perfect job, but I do an excellent job.
How people might see us if we don't portray a certain
pride,
way. That's
yes.
what I struggle
Brings
with.
us right into the pride. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is going to be out there for the rest of our life. Like we're recording something live or not just live, but it's going out onto the internet. We're going to be looked at, watched at, heard for, we can't get it back. Right.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that we can ever get any of those back.
Nope.
So it affects us.
Yeah. And that's how the pride comes in too, how it affects us. Like Skylar sent us a show to listen to on the step, right? And on 4-step. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this guy's a good speaker. Wow, this guy has everything good. I'm jotting shit down. I'm like, I wish I can talk like him. I wish I can do stuff like him. You know, the pride, you know, I'm not as good as him, but you know, and then, you know, I need that pride to understand that, like, you know, I am good as everybody else. I'm good as others. It was other podcast hosts. Right. And sometimes I think I'm not, but I think, I think in my mind, the pride is, you know, a killer for me also. The pride and fear, two of my killers.
So pride though is, you know, getting satisfaction from our achievements. It's really related to ego. The pride, that's, you know, we're prideful when we feel like we've done a good job, or the people around us or who we've affected have done a good job. And we feel very prideful of that, kind of like we have pride for our children. So I still would attribute what you said is back to fear. That the comment you just made. I feel like I think we all on here have pride, I would say, because I'm very proud of the work that we're doing here, the work that we do for a living. I like that a lot, but I wouldn't say it's top on my list for being one of my 7 deadliest.
But here's how you have to look at it. And I get all, there's healthy pride, healthy fear.
Yes.
There's all this stuff is also healthy. Some of this stuff is healthy,
Yeah.
but the pride, that I get if my wife tells me something like, what? You're fucking questioning me? Really? I know everything. Why are you questioning me? Or my boss is questioning me, or even anybody. Like,
Yes.
you're questioning me?
Oh,
What?
yes.
Really?
At
Really?
the
I know
convention over the
everything.
weekend, this lady said something
the
just
worst
like
for
that.
me.
She
Yes.
said, I came in here and my sponsors had changed my attitude. And I looked at her with an attitude and said, what attitude? That's cosmetics, right? Like,
Well, I can even go. I'll even
Right?
give I'll even give a shout out to Jay here at the Cigar Lounge. I was in the humidor picking out a cigar, and he's like, "Try this cigar. This is going to be something." Like, you don't fucking know me, dude. You're like, you don't know what I like. Like, I know how to pick my own cigar out, right? And I just had to kind of like take myself down a notch because he's the expert in here. I told him what I like, and he's showing me what cigars are here, and end up being a good cigar. You know, I don't know everything. I think I know everything.
well,
And
let's
that's
take
where the
that a
pride
step
gets in the
further
way.
too, because when you're hurting, when I'm hurting, when Tiff's hurting, pride can really be like mess us up when we come in this room and we got some pain and we're not sharing that shit because we're scared of how you might see me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, so the cockiness of like, I'll be able to handle myself.
Mhm.
I don't know about y'all, but I've tried to do that many a times. And then I come back crawling it like spons. Like I tried to, you know, like I usually there's what had happened was it's usually a whole story. It's never just
Mhm.
like spons.
Yeah.
I you know, never go to it right away, you know?
So one of my biggest character defects is not asking for help or asking for what I need because I'm afraid of what I'll look like.
Mm,
And so there was
Pride.
even
Pride.
with
pride.
starting,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
with that's what I'm saying. Like that's a huge thing for me. So it goes both ways. When it's related to ego, it can go some ways, and then when
Yeah.
it's related to asking for help, because I'll get real with our job. I've been around the block. I've been at the top of the corporate ladder. I've held many different high titled positions, to being administrator, to being at the shit of the shit. Worked for large companies, small companies, lots of things. But there are certain things that I'm super confident at, like I'm really good at, and I don't want to be questioned on those things, right? I want to be valued. I want to be valued for my knowledgeable. I am a knowledgeable resource. You should take advantage of me at all costs, right? I am very confident. I, however, don't like to ask for help because sometimes I feel like that's going to be used against me, you know? So recently, and through recovery, here's what I've learned. I changed that behavior since I've started. This is my first job since getting sober. And now I've decided I must ask for what I need. I need to ask for help no matter what. And I've learned so much over the last 10 weeks by just listening, not letting that get in the way, and just being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable.
Well, also you got to knock the pride down. I know every day on my run or every morning when I call my sponsor, I got to go in there kind of with an open mind. I can't go in there being prideful, thinking I know everything, and this morning, my talk with my sponsor, I was trying to tell him 10 different ways how come he's wrong. And he only had one solution and he was right. I was trying to tell him 10 different ways why I was wrong. He had the solution. It was a very, very, very simple solution. And I was complicating it. I was complicating the fuck out of it. Complicating the fuck out of it because I didn't want my pride to be hurt or in front of my sponsor, you know what I'm saying? So that's pride to me anyways. That's the bad pride. Let's go into envy, because envy and pride kind of go together. I'm going to read right off my I don't think my cousin is listening, but my cousin, I was always envious of my cousin, right? I'm just trying to get to where he's at. I was always envious of him. And I'm reading this off of my personal list here, that he was always smarter than me, that he had a career when he was young. He went to college. He worked with an established company. He had a 401k. He had a house at like the age of 27 years old. He had a family. He had it all well put together. I was so envious of that, guys. He made my list. I was just huge envy of him. that he had all this. And why can't I have this? Well, because you're drinking, you're drugging, you're whoring around, you're fucking doing everything wrong. Right? He worked hard to get everything he had. He went to school. He interviewed great. He had, got the position. He knew engineering inside and out. And that's why he had what he had. And that's why I had what I had. I drank, I drugged, I did stupid shit. And that's why I had nothing. I had nothing to show for. And I was envious of him. Right? Envious of him because he did all the work and I didn't. I wanted to sit on the couch and do nothing and be where he's at today. Right? That's pure envy right there. Pure envy.
Sure.
What about you? What do you guys? Envy hit home for anybody?
Yeah, this comes back to, I think this probably affects women more than other people. How Skylar said that she had skinny girls on her list, right? Mm-hmm. There are certain groups of things like that, that I feel like, I can't do that. Like I don't want to be, I don't necessarily, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it, but I can see how that would affect women more than others by just I'm very envious of skinny girls because I used to be a very skinny girl and I'm not anymore. Right. So I want to be like that. I want to be like that. And I want to be like that without doing any work. I want to continue to eat my peeps and veggie straws and drink my Diet Coke. And I don't want to have to do any exercise. So I am definitely envious of that. And then I'm also envious of people who, or used to be more so, who again, have that nice ability to be normal. I'm envious of people who are normal people and can drink and use, not use drugs, but who can drink, but use prescription drugs as prescribed. How about that?
Yeah. Who does that?
I'm very envious. But I wouldn't return my life for anything. I love my life now, but I wonder why I can't be normal like everybody else. Lots of things. We got
to put the work in to get the work out. The harder we work, and I don't mean physically knocking fucking rocks out, but the harder we work, the better results we get. Ask a better question, get a better answer. Right.
But I will say this with my envy, I don't have malicious envy. There's a difference. There's two types of envy, right? There's the envy that's just like a normal envious behavior. And then there's malicious envy where it's like, I want what you have and I want to take it from you. I don't have malicious intent with my envy. I don't, want skinny girls to be fat and I don't want, or overweight or unhealthy.
No, it's self-centeredness.
Yes.
Self-centeredness. We don't care about the other people. It's what we want. Exactly. Not that we would put anything bad on them. It's why can't I have it? Me.
I said he doesn't know anything about this. Look at him killing it.
But I want to say that because some people are maliciously envious of people. They have that malicious envy. So I don't want to thanks, Brene Brown.
So you want to get real personal. I've envied people like that I feel like I shouldn't have envied, like my son, like, feeling like, when I saw him with my dad at age 3, when my dad walked out, like there was transference there along with some envy. And that was a lot, you know what I mean? Or growing up, I kind of felt like my voice really didn't matter. I always had to be quiet. So my brothers always had a more funnier voice. They could always tell and understand jokes and, and then me and my oldest brother will say that my middle brother was the golden child, but then the middle child will say his perspective wasn't that at all either. So, it's like, it's what we thought. It doesn't mean that's what the other people are feeling or thinking. You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly. What about dishonesty, guys? It's another deadly sin, dishonest. My go-to is being dishonest. That's the first thought that comes into my head. Be dishonest about it because that's how I was trained. That's what my life was about. All those years of drinking. That's what everything was, how many lines did you do? Oh, I only did 2, just like you. Meanwhile, I'm in a bathroom snorting cocaine like an animal. Why everybody else? An 8-ball. Yeah, they're sharing an 8-ball. Everybody put the same amount of money in, but I can guarantee
Ed
you.
Have to carry the 8-ball?
Ed always carried the 8-ball. 100% hands down. He always carried it.
Me too.
One for you, four for me. One for you, four for me. But that was my go-to, is my dishonesty. And again, I can't control that first thought in my mind, but the second thought I can. I don't have to be dishonest today. I really don't. And I think dishonesty is one thing I am not today. Dishonest. I'll think about it, but I will not do it. I will not do it at all.
I have a definite, I'm a hard no on being dishonest now. Like I loved this part of our recovery, but before I would lie, my natural instinct was to lie. Even if I was telling you 10 miles off on where I was on the road in my commute, it was a natural instinct. And I don't know why it was a natural instinct. Well, actually, I do know why. That I know from doing the 4-step in the ACOA, the Adult Children of Alcoholics.
Yeah.
There's the reason I was a people pleaser. I was been independent and surviving my whole life by myself as a child. So I had to protect myself, and I had to say the right thing to not make people upset around me.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I'm not going to pretend I'm dishonest today, because I struggle with that still. I struggle with telling people how I truly feel. I struggle with telling people my needs. You know what I mean? And like, I think I'm helping them by being manipulative and controlling, but I struggle with that still to this day, because, and that's what I have to call my sponsor. Like, I have to really say this, like, is this causing harm? Is this not because my disease will tell me some crazy shit, y'all.
Yes.
It'll tell me that it'll rationalize, minimize, justify, fantasize, all those things that I don't have to do this step, and that I don't have to get honest with my sponsor about it, because I'm not being as dishonest. I'm protecting their feelings. I'm going to cause harm here. So I better not. And that's why I'm like, all right, response. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we need them, Well, because then that's when she's like, Skylar, you got to be uncomfortable. You got to address the situation.
So it's interesting that you bring that up, because I still am naturally a people pleaser because of how I'm still working through my issues, but I will stop myself right in the tracks and say, you know what? I was going to tell you this because that's how I used to be, but here's the honest truth.
Yeah.
Or I will say, are you looking for the truth here today? Or do you want me to lie like I used to? I will say that. Or I will say things like, you know what, that I didn't mean that. I told you that because it was a gut reaction. But now that I've had a second, I need to tell you, I need to be honest. I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
It is still a natural instinct by all means to lie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially with strangers sometimes more than the people closest, because like I want them to like me, you know what I mean? Or, but sometimes with strangers, I could give a shit less because they don't mean anybody to me. But if it's someone like I want to become friends with, I might be like, oh, I'll be nervous, And then it's like, but that's not who we really are. And that's why I'm an evolving product.
Let me ask you this about dishonesty. Being dishonest to ourselves. I still do that. In my head, I still do that. Not saying, I think you said it earlier, Tip, not standing up for myself, not being who I should be, being submissive, being, kind of just sitting back and letting other people take charge of my life. Other people can't take charge of my life. That's being dishonest to me. Anyways, this is my thing of being dishonest, is when I let other people do my bills, or, okay, let you do the work. And I'm not saying not to delegate anything or not to be a team, but when I know that I can do something, but I just sit back and make believe I can't do it. That's being so fucking dishonest to myself, so dishonest. And I beat myself up for it. And I really get down on myself for it.
And you're almost having disloyalty to yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of disloyalty to ourselves.
But see, that's the thing though. The disease is tricky though. My buddy Wayne was just saying this too. He was just saying how my disease will tell me some shit. Like in a meeting, I'll hear you share some stuff and I'm like, oh, see, that was God divinely directed to me. And just to rationalize, see, I wasn't meant to tell him it was going to cause harm, but that's the disease. So it's very tricky. It is. And that's why we like this step is so crucial, but it's definitely for me. I struggled more with 8 and 9 than this one. Like, and I'm not trying to scare anyone with 8 and 9.
No, you're right.
looking at me and like this stuff, I was running from it for a while, but it wasn't as scary as like everyone made it out to be. I don't know. I guess there was just like this cloud over it, but I didn't get it when I was there. I'm like, wait, should I be scared yet? I'm still writing. Should I be scared yet? Like,
I ran from it too because I was overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
I didn't keep it simple. It was like, and I didn't believe, I didn't have people say to me, like we say to people, this is amazing, Seth. This feels good. This is, we should be really, we should be more scared of 8 and 9, right?
Yeah.
That's when we have to actually stand up as God's people and crawl before no one. And we look them in the eye and we hold our head high and say, we're going to fix this. I'm going to hold up to this. Yeah. But that was more scary to me, for me than, like you said, Sky, than actually this step. After getting through it. After getting through it, I think that.
Weren't you like when you sat down to go over 5, weren't you guys terrified? Like I was shaky. I was nervous. And then it was the same typical situation. Like, oh, me too. Like, you know, and then I was like feeling better, but I was terrified.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The way I'm doing step 4, I'm literally going over it with my sponsor as we're going through it. So step 5 is already happening without me even knowing it, right? And then step 5 comes and thinking I have to repeat all this shit. Now he knows everything I'm talking about, but you have to repeat. You have to go over it. And good.
In step 5, you're going back and listing your character defects through this and being honest about what your true role was in things and admitting those things, the things that you've done wrong and where you caused harm and where you did these things. Yeah. My step 5, when I did with a priest, I was scared. But I had fear of men. Okay. I didn't know where I stood on religion. I had fear of God. I didn't know where I stood on religion, any of those things. And there's a lot of stigma around, you know, priests right now and things like that. So I just that was scary for me. Yeah. But it was better than the first one.
True. What about greed? Greed, for me, I'm going to be honest with you. And I just been having some, after all this eating stuff, right? The only thing that I see greed in me is with food. I get very greedy with food. I need more and more and more. I want more food. I don't think I have an eating disorder, but I have an eating problem, no doubt about it. You know, right before we came on, I was eating and I had 6 chicken wings. I would have got 2 orders of it. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't need 2 orders of chicken wings. That's being greedy. It's being gluttonous to myself. It's overeating, kind of compensating for what reason? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. But my greed comes in with food a lot of times. And, but greedy with other things, I'm always giving. I'm always, kind of helping. I'm here to whatever it is. If it's in the program, if it's somebody that needs help being moved, if I give myself a lot, and I'm not greedy with any of that. And money wise, I'm not greedy either. I give what I can, when I can, where I can. So I don't think greed. Only part of my life with greed is food, and I have to do something about it. And I did. I took a step towards getting past the greed of food, or the gluttonous of food.
Oh, I have some greed, but it's similar to you. It's not honest. Food though. It's shopping. Yeah, I love my clothes, and I like nice clothes that cost money. Don't get me wrong, I love a good deal, but with any spending, when it comes to me, is A-okay. Sky's the limit, impulsive or not. And I have to work on that. It's a cross addiction that I have, a serious cross addiction. But I'm like you on everything else. I'm not greedy with my time. I'm not greedy with my money that I have left after shopping. Very generous, but I am very greedy when it comes to my clothes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't even like people touching them. I won't let people wash them. And I don't like
people touching my food. Don't touch my food. Yes, get the fuck out of here. And you're not eating that, bring it over here. Fucking send it my way.
And I do, but I'm serious. That's a problem. Like with the kids, I find myself snapping at my little guy, because he loves to tug on my shirt and hold my clothes and pull and stretch them out, right? I shouldn't even say that. A small child should be able to tug on his mother's shirt with her not snapping at him, saying, "Don't touch my clothes."
Shit. You know how much this shit was?
Get off my $100 shirt. God.
But I also take care of them and my clothes and wear them for a long time.
Sky, I'm going to guess greed doesn't exist in your world. I'm going to guess.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not. I'm perfect.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I know. My son's like, we only have a little bit left. I'm like, it's mine. It's mine. And they all know that too. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch are off limits, you know.
There's a big skull and crossbones on it that Skylar put a big black red magic marker. So don't eat these.
Agreed. I think of when I first got arrested for shoplifting in 5th grade, like for like stealing a keychain. And that's when my dad first introduced what the fuck greed was. He's like, Skylar's is greedy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't really need this. And I'm like, oh, I didn't need this, but I wanted it. Like, you know what I mean? So I didn't understand. Like, it's just things we learn slowly.
It overcomes your principles.
Yes.
Now, when something or some, whatever overcomes your principles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You're right.
And what about moral misconduct? I don't even know what that means, but I don't know. Like, I'm going to give it to you ladies to talk about it first, and maybe something will click for me. And if we don't, we just skip it and comment below.
You go about something morally wrong?
I guess, right? Like, I guess like last week when I shared on the show about the money that I found, right? The moral misconduct would have been to stick it in my pocket and go buy those lottery tickets, but I gave it to the church.
Absolutely.
That's one way. And again, I think that goes back to dishonesty. I guess, I don't know, moral misconduct, dishonesty.
Yeah, I see them overlapping for sure.
Yeah. To me anyways. I mean, again, people might have different thoughts of it, and let us know what your thoughts are of moral misconduct.
Well, it's when you don't have a good distinction between good and bad behavior. That's a moral misconduct. Like you said, the example you gave was, of the money, that you did something good with it, right? What do you do when, or you want to adhere to different standards of conduct? If you can't adhere to those, right, then that's moral misconduct, like honesty, integrity, trust, all those things. If you can't adhere to those things, then you are morally misconducting yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The last one is sexual misconduct or lust. I guess men just have that built into them. I had this conversation with my sponsor this morning. He said, Eddie, he goes, if you want to have, and I don't want to have it, just to get it out there clear, because I've had it in the past and it's not right. He's like, Eddie, if you want to have a wife, 2 girlfriends and all that stuff, have at it, but know what's going to happen. Know what the consequences are going to be of that sexual misconduct. Why are you doing it? What's up with that? So sexual misconduct, even just talking about women or men or whatever, whatever it is, that's still sexual misconduct. Now, it just doesn't have to be lust. Like you girls were saying, the skinny girls, right? I mean, I don't know if that's sexual or not, but still, if I look at myself, like with running, like, oh my God, I have, I don't look like a runner. That guy, that girl, look at her body, running behind some chick with a hot ass on a path, you know what I mean? Staring at her to get you through the half of the race, that's moral. That's sexual misconduct in my mind. Because what if I take it a step further? Like, what if I go to the girl after the race and say, hey, good run. I didn't go up to her because she had a good run. I went up to her because she had a good ass. Let's be honest. That's sexual misconduct, So now I just got to stay in my lane, stay away from all that stuff. We're human beings. We all look at each other, hands down. I'd be lying if I said I don't. And I think most of us would be. but it's how far do we take it? Do we go up to her
Yeah.
after the run and say, hey, you know, great run, you know, let's go get a cup of water together, or let's go, you know, you want my banana, you know, they give you bananas at the end of the race. And, you know, so that to me, that would be, and it's just an example of sexual misconduct or lust.
Well, that would be sexual misconduct, but lust is even just having a very strong sexual desire. It doesn't necessarily need to be outwardly projected verbally or physically. Just having that strong sexual desire, that's, again, overcoming other parts of your life is a problem. So I want to clarify that because, you know, I sometimes, it happens, both men, both women, and using that misconduct, especially women, sexually for their own benefit, or
never thought about that.
You could use it for your benefit. You could use that for it doesn't have to be towards someone in particular. You could use it negatively either. Also, you know, to trap somebody or for entrapment, you know, I guess I should say. I don't know.
Or even like you were talking about the police get pulled over, you know, girls might flash their boobs. If I flash my boobs, I'll get arrested. But, you know, girls flash their boobs, or I don't mean it that way, or cry, or, you know, that's another misconduct sexually too.
Well, I will say this, and then I'll get personal. I was searching for love in all the wrong places, but I didn't understand that. So I was definitely so there's a difference between lust and sexual misconduct. So the sexual misconduct, you know, I was not the things I allowed myself to do or did to myself was incredible to me. I can't believe I didn't respect myself enough to stop some of the things that I allowed happen to me, because I definitely put myself in the wrong situations a lot of times, in dangerous situations. So allowed happen to me, or other things that I searched for inappropriate reasons or inappropriate the wrongful gain of something. Now, again, maybe not malicious intent. I didn't have malicious intent, but it doesn't make it right. So there was a lot of understanding in this step with the sex conduct.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sky, anything on that before we move on?
No, you guys covered it. I mean, just filling voids, like that's you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I would try to
exactly.
do the wrong thing to try to find love. I thought I was doing it in the right ways, you know, and it wasn't. So,
and the reason why I wanted to bring up these 7 deadliest sins is because of the third column. We have to start placing all these deadly sins into the third column of all our resentments, and why we have resentments against, you know, like right in the big book, you go to, I don't know what page it is, but that's the fourth step, you know, Mr. Brown for, you know, for having an eye on my wife. I was, you know, fearful. I was, you know, I was whatever, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, so that's exactly. So that's why I brought up these 7 deadliest sins, because you got to use them in step 4. And you got to, again, a searching, fearless moral inventory of ourselves. If you can't write that, whatever that is, on the paper next to the name or whatever, after everything, you're not doing it right. I heard on that podcast we were just talking about earlier, step 4 is more than wasting your time with ink, paper, and time, right? Ink, paper, and time. Step 4 is much more than that. I mean, you got to put a lot of time in, but there's a whole nother piece of this step after we get done writing, right?
Exactly.
A whole nother piece of it. So
many different levels.
Exactly. And there's another question here that I want to ask you guys from the book. Where is it? What behaviors over my lifetime have been offensive to God or others? What behaviors, right? Since we've been talking about all these behaviors, probably every behavior that we listed, right? But think about it, right? God stuck by me the whole time I was doing all these 7 deadliest sins. I was probably an expert at all these 7 deadliest sins. And God stuck with me, and other people stuck with me too, because they knew there was something going on in my life, or my disease, or whatever it might have been, and some people didn't, for every good reason. People wrote me out of their life. I wouldn't want to hang around somebody the way I used to be, and again, the important part of it, of this is, again, step 4 is the crap that we had in the past, not who we are today. We got to write it down. Just because you're writing it down doesn't mean you're that person. Just because you have a resentment against somebody doesn't mean that you're gonna have the craziness in your life still. We got to write it down, and we got to get it out, and we got to move on. And if we don't do the 4th step, we won't move on from here.
So lying, cheating, stealing, breaking and entering. I could go on and on and on. Yeah. Especially, I was really surprised the first time that I broke an entering. Really, like me.
I know.
Like nobody. Remember, the appearance on the outside. Nobody ever. I'm sure today people just listening to that will never believe that I did that, and I did it multiple times. Oh yeah, multiple times.
You had to do what you had to do back then, right?
Yep, and just to survive. And I mean, survive just to feel like normal and get what I needed to feel normal. And it didn't matter. And especially when it came to the fact, it didn't matter who you were, how close I was to you. Nothing was off limits. The standard just kept going, getting lower and lower and lower.
Shit, it got lowered in the basement half the time.
Yeah.
I lived in the basement so I can go down further. It's easier because if you're on the top floor, it's hard to get to the fucking basement and go lower, But yeah, and I always say this on I do my Saturday Night Alive meeting on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's a speaker meeting, right? And the speaker, when I hear the speaker talk and then they get done, the first thing I always say to myself, God, I can't believe that's who they were. I know this person. I know who they are. And that is not who I would think they would be at all, right? Yep. And that's the craziness of it. And that's what we have to remember. This is not who we are anymore. This is not who we are anymore. And if we never want to do it again, we got to push through this step. We got to write it down. We got to figure out the cause. We got to, do all that to get through this step.
And I never was that person. I wasn't. That was just a symptom of my disease. I have a sick mind, a disease of the mind that was overtaking it was controlling every aspect of my life, every aspect of my life. Yep. Trust me, I was just as flabbergasted as I was doing these things and listening to it now I can't believe I was that person because it's not who I am really on the inside. It's not who I am.
No. Well, who are we today, guys? Let's finish this podcast up with who are we today? Who are we after we've done our 4th step? Because we're doing all 3 of us right now, and hopefully everybody listening and people on the Facebook Live might be doing their 4th step. But who are we today? Tiff, who are you today?
God, why me first? Who are you today, Ed?
I'm a friend in recovery today.
I'm a friend in recovery.
Yes, that's right. There you go. I am a loving, caring, human being that has flaws, that has some desires, that has mistakes in my life, that have problems, I have issues. But I know if I stay in this program, I know if I stay doing what I'm doing, not just the 4th step, every step, that I don't have to be that person anymore. And on that podcast, they also said that the steps aren't a part of a program. The steps aren't a part of the program. They're the program. So the minute you don't work the steps, you're not part of a program anymore, right? You have to work the steps to be part of this program. I mean, you can get through not working the steps. You can show up to meetings, but are you really working a program? And people who don't work a program have those 7 deadliest sins. Worse yet, relapse. Worse yet, could die.
I just can't imagine carrying the guilt and shame by not working the steps.
I know. So who are we today? And we'll finish up with that.
Who are we today? Or I mean, because there's a difference of who I am today and who I desire to be. I will say that.
No, who are you today?
But today,
that's the only thing we can be.
I know, but I do. Well, I'll tell you why there's a difference.
Okay.
Because I'm a seriously flawed and fucked up individual who has the best intentions, is often misunderstood, but I work really hard on a daily basis to make progress, to do good in the world, to try to better make myself better and be a positive influence on other people. All I want to do today and what I try to do every day is make a difference in my life and make a difference in other people's lives in a positive manner. Now, I desire to be even greater than that. I'm working towards a goal, right?
Goals are huge in our lives. Yeah. There's a difference between desires and goals. Absolutely. And so, Tiff, you are a goal-oriented person. You set your goals and you work towards them or you achieve them. And I think that's completely different than a desire.
Okay. So then that's what I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I mean, I desire to be an actress someday.
That's okay. But do you have a goal to do that?
Hell yes.
Okay.
But I don't have it's not a SMART goal. It's not specific. It's not measurable. It's not attainable, time sensitive, or realistic.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's a desire.
It's a desire.
Exactly. Sky, who are you today?
Well, I'm a mother, right? I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a lot of things today. Wear a lot of hats. But like, honestly, like, I just want to keep being like a vessel of whatever I'm supposed to be, your servant. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, is what that purpose is. You know, like, I think I'm serving it some days I don't. So I'm still on that mission to kind of figure it out. And the only way I'm going to do it is with persistence and integrity and like all the stuff we learn in this step process. So I'm a good person that shows up on a daily basis. I'm accountable. You know, I'm responsible. I'm like these things that I never thought I could be. That's really what's so cool about it, most of all.
Absolutely.
You know? But absolutely. I want to be that vessel of like whatever my higher power thinks I should be, you know, and be able to let him live through me fully. Like that 11 step, really feel it too, you know?
Yeah. But all this stuff we're talking about, guys, takes hard work.
Yes.
Takes blood, sweat, and tears. And we're not physically blood, but you know, it takes time. It takes energy. It takes a lot of things. But let me tell you, if you're listening to this podcast and you made it through to the end of however long we went, there's a reason why. There's a reason why, because you want to be there too. You're not that person who you used to be. You're not that person on the list that you made. You're not that person anymore. You know, and we do this list and we do our 10th step daily because we don't want to make this big, huge list again. But we do, you know, depending on how many times you work the steps and how many times you do your 4th step and all that. But the thing is guys, we are pushing hard not to be that person anymore. We now have a roadmap after step 4. There now is a roadmap. Okay. So I can go back and look at my cousin, and I'm not envious anymore because he put the work into it. He did everything he needed to do. I'm not envious, or I'm not pissed off at the judge anymore because I knew I was at fault because I was trespassing, right? So if I get a speeding ticket now, I'm not going to be mad at the cop. I'm not going to be mad at the judge, and whatever it is. It's because of what I did. What I put into it is what I'm going to get out of it. And I'm not that person anymore. Will I get a speeding ticket? Probably somewhere down the road. I hope not, but I'm a human being. But I don't have to blame it on anybody else anymore. After my 4th step, I don't have to do that anymore. And just to let everybody know out there, you guys are amazing. Everybody that listens to this podcast, if you did your 4th step or not, if you're on the 1st step and you still don't know if you're an alcoholic or not, you're amazing because you're taking the action. This is a program of action, not a program of maybe I'll do it, or maybe, I can do it. No, it's a program of action. Even if you walk into the rooms at Alcoholics Anonymous or any A meeting and raise your hand and I say, I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, I have a problem. That is action right there. Small, but it's huge. And that's why these steps work. That's why these steps are intertwined into everybody, every successful alcoholic and addict that runs their lives in a good, honest, non-greedy, non-lustful way today. That's my opinion on that.
Absolutely.
So ladies, a little personal stuff there. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have Carl put this out. No, I'm just kidding. This was very enlightening to me. We all got a little vulnerable on here. We all shared a little piece of things that fucked up our lives. And we also shared a big piece of things that are making our lives better, right? That are making every one of us on these three little blocks, making our lives much, much better. And if we didn't talk about them, if we didn't go over them, if we're not putting this information out and helping other people, I would be doing a dishonest kind of service to people out there. So with that, I'm going to say, stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.